Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from the Florida Keys. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you and yours are well. It's bright and early in the morning, and I decided today is the day I need to start packing up the garden and pulling up some of these plants so that I can move them to the house in Central Florida. I don't know exactly when we will be moving, but it's time to get these plants moved. So while it's a little bit cooler, it's time to get out here, get dirty, and get these plants moved. So let's get going. Where to start? When I planted this garden, it was with the intention of us not moving again, but never say never. I'm happy to be moving, but I definitely want to take my desert rose plants with me. I have quite a few of them, but they're planted in this rock bed, so that's going to mean moving back the paper, moving back the rocks and all that. So I don't know that that's where I want to start today. I want to do something kind of quick and easy today. But aren't they beautiful? Just act like you don't see the weeds. Okay, so let's see. Maybe I'll start over here. Here's my Imperial Bromeliad. That's in a pot, so that would be easy to move. You know what? That's probably a good idea, starting with the Bromeliads, because I don't have to do any digging for them. I have them everywhere, but they would be easy to pack up, easy to get up. I don't have to pull out a shovel and do all that. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to start. I think I'm going to start with the Bromeliads. I'll start with the ones mounted on the trees and probably pull up some of the other ones as well. And then when I get to the other house, I can mount them on the trees for now. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do my garden there yet, but yeah, I can just mount them on the tree, and then I can show you guys how I mount them and everything too. And if I need to move them later, I can. So I think I have a game plan. We're going to start with the orchids and bromeliads. I started pulling them down and realized that I wasn't recording. But anyhow, it's so easy. Some of these have been up here long enough that they have grown roots and attached to the trees and to the mesh and everything. But still, bromeliads only use their roots to anchor themselves. They don't use them for feeding or taking in water or anything like that. So they're really easy to take down. So I'm just putting them in a bin. When you're working with bromeliads, you definitely want to be wearing some nice heavy leather gloves, because these things, some of them they look like serrated edges. And well, they are serrated edges and they will cut you easily. This one is so pretty. But I'm going to also take this opportunity to clean them up a little bit. And the downfall of having bromeliads under a tree is that all the debris from the trees will collect in the cone of your bromeliads. So, I'll clean them out as much as I can, as best I can. But that debris also gives them nutrients and things like that. So I'm just, as you can see, just dumping the water out and putting them in this plastic bin. I did drill some big holes in the sides of the bin because I thought I was going to be able to put the lids on so that I could stack them, but clearly some of these are too big for that, so I'm not going to be able to use the lids. But they are pretty hardy plants. You're not disrupting anything that's going to cause them to die because you pulled up the roots or anything like that. So these should make the transition pretty well. The only concern I have is maybe the difference in weather. I'm in zone 11 in the Keys, and we are moving to zone 9. So I know some of these will be just fine. I don't know if all of them will, but I'm definitely hoping that they will be. Hey, that's the third and final bin of bromeliads. That's all we're going to take for now. Still have quite a few to go, but that's all the space we have for plants on this trip. And for any bromeliads that you have name tags or anything like that for, I just take the tag and stick it down here in this bromeliad. And that way, when I get to the house, I will have it and they won't be separated. So what I'm going to do is I'll just leave these in the bins overnight and they'll be fine. All right, we're on the road. It's a 5.5 hour drive, and I tell you what, I've been in Florida most of my adult life, and I am still able to appreciate just how beautiful it is. I love it here. Before I could start bringing plants to this house, we had to have a sprinkler system installed. So, right now, what I'm doing is I'm turned on the sprinkler system and I'm looking to see just how high the water hits on the various trees. Bromeliads don't have a lot of requirements, but you do want to make sure that there's always water in their cone. So now I'm just kind of checking out the trees, seeing, kind of getting a game plan for where I'm going to mount the bromeliads and like that. Again, I don't know that they will be permanently in the spots where I put them, but it would be nice if I don't have to do all this work and then turn around and change things. So I think I have an idea in mind, so I'm going to get started. Here are the plants that I brought. Brought some crotons and just a little mix of things, but primarily bromeliads. To mount bromeliads, I use a roll of burlap, and I just picked this up at Michael's. It's pretty inexpensive. You want it, not too tightly weave. It doesn't really matter. A staple gun, a heavy duty staple gun, some scissors to cut the burlap, and some heavy duty leather gloves because you don't want to get cut up by the bromeliads. When I mount orchids and bromeliads, I always like to take advantage of any natural contours or crevices in the tree. I think I'm going to put this big purple one in here. I think that'll look nice, the contrast. Okay, I like the looks of that. So now I need to secure it. I'm going to go in with the burlap and use it to secure the bromeliad to the tree. And I'll use the staple gun to secure the burlap to the tree. So basically what I'm doing is just making a pocket for the bromeliad, and then I'm going to cut off the excess. Now I need to do the same thing on the other side. This isn't how the finished product will look, so you don't have to worry too much about making it look cute at this point. I'll show you some ways that it will be camouflaged in the end, and also once you add more layers of bromeliads, you really won't see this burlap. Once the bromeliads have rooted and anchored to the tree, you can remove the burlap completely. Next, I think I'll put one right here below it on the ground. I think that will look really nice. As these bromeliads grow, they'll attach to the tree, and as they have pups, the pups will also attach to the tree, and eventually you end up with a tree that has a lot of bromeliads on it. And you can control how it looks and everything by removing some. But if you've ever seen mounted bromeliads that were mounted on trees and stuff, I love that look. To me, it just looks so tropical. Now, if you live in an apartment or something, or you don't have trees in your yard, you can mount on pretty much anything. I've seen them mounted on posts, on branches, pieces of driftwood. It looks really, really nice. This one's giving me a hard time, so I'm just kind of making a pocket here. All right, now I just have to pop in the bromeliad. Okay, that's two down with a whole lot more to go. I'm going to go ahead and build these up. I'll show you the finished product, and I'll show you what I do to kind of camouflage some of it. This is the back side of where I was working earlier, and I just wanted to stop and show you. This is 3 layers so far, and as you can see, you don't really see the burlap from the other 2 that were added before it. To make it look a little cuter, what I do is I go in and I will add some moss to cover some of the burlap. Fortunately, at this house, this moss is growing on the trees, so I just got some and am putting it on here. But I have purchased this moss online before, and also if you don't want to do the moss, or don't feel like purchasing it, but you have some vining plants, you can make a pocket with this burlap, put some soil in it, and put a plant in it, a vining plant, and use that to cover the burlap. I mean, all you have to do is get creative. Work something out that works for you. This is also the way that I mount orchids to trees as well. And I'm going to come back in here and mix some orchids in amongst the bromeliads. What I've mounted this to is a large oak tree. And if you look above, it's pretty, there's a good canopy, so it gives it some shade, but there's also dappled sun that comes through here. And just keep in mind that bromeliads do like some sunlight, although some of them can't tolerate full sun. So keep that in mind when you're selecting which tree to mount your bromeliad on. I added these small trailing bromeliads to a palm tree. On this tree over here, I have some bromeliads with orchids mixed in. This is the tree where we started. Now, these pots won't be around the bottom. I just kind of ran out of time, and I want to make sure they get watered by the sprinkler system. As you can see, I've added quite a few more bromeliads. I've added some dendrobium orchids, and I'm really liking the way it looks. I can't wait for it to fill in more. One thing you want to keep in mind with your bromeliads is you want them to be sitting in an upright way so that the cones can hold water. So like some of these, I'm going to have to go back and do some adjustments because it got kind of windy. And the good thing is it let me know that some of these weren't secure enough. I got a little air plant going there. Yeah, the cones need to be in an upright position so that they can hold water. Otherwise, the bromeliads, this type of bromeliad, isn't going to make it if it can't hold water. And over here we have some palm trees, so I decided to add some of the small trailing bromeliads on the palm trees. And there are some palm trees along the far side of the driveway, so I decided to add the small trailing bromeliads on them also. And on the tree by the far side of the driveway, I added some full-size bromeliads. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. And please let me know down in the description box if you're interested in seeing more videos like this with the rest of the plants in the garden that I plan on moving. Drop me a line, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.